All right, Matty, welcome back to the Ask Matty Show. Team, we're going to provide a lot of value here. You guys brought your questions, some hating questions, but also some good ones, talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum, talking about Filecoin, talking about the current state of the altcoin market. Some of you are doom and gloom, and we are going to get into that today. Matty, how are you feeling?
Hey, I'm doing good. I know the markets are a little bit rocky looking today, but there's been a dry powder bag that I've been accumulating for basically the last couple of years here. So, I'm actually like a kid in a candy store here, deploying some of that dry powder, capitalizing some of these opportunities that I've talked about potentially appearing for the last year and some change. So, although nobody likes to see their portfolio down, I'm taking the opposite approach and taking all that hard work I did and pumping it into the market right now. So overall, I'm pretty good, man. I'm in a good, happy spot.
Yeah, team, if you've been around us for long enough, you know when we believe in assets and we see prices like we're seeing these last couple weeks, we don't get afraid. We start deploying. We continue the DCA. We get our limit bags ready, or I know Matty was saying a couple weeks ago that he's dropping limit bags. So that's just what we do, team. If we believe in assets, we are going to buy. And I know that might be a little bit annoying for you guys. You guys want us to for some reason harp on Casper price, and we do feel it sometimes. We do. Seeing
Sure.
1.8 cents yesterday was crazy. I didn't think I was telling Matty before the show. A couple months ago, Matty was saying, dude, I want sub 2 cent Casper. And it happened yesterday, and my mind was blown. I really didn't think that was going to happen, but it did. But you know what we do in these moments? We buy. Why? Because we believe in the assets. The price shouldn't scare you, team. So if you don't want to be scared of price, if you want to have a level-headed approach, join CryptoCharged. Team, click the pin link in the comment section down below. Use code YouTube. That will get you what will it give them, Matty?
Now, you guys get 50% off with code YouTube, and that also gets you a 30-day free trial. So, either $49 a month or $4.99 for the year. But before you even make that commitment, you get 30 days free before we charge you anything. Check out the Discord, check out our live shows Monday through Friday, check out the coin library, participate in our technical tune-up Friday sessions where we chart your picks. We try to give you guys a lot of value for your money, and we want to make sure that you guys get a full month to check that out. So make sure you guys use code YouTube at checkout. Otherwise, if you do decide to stick with us after that, you're going to renew at twice the rate that you would be if not using the code YouTube. So make sure you guys employ that.
And team, I did want to talk about, I did speak about on After Hours on Monday, is the Consistent Investor Strategy is coming out this Friday, the 21st at 2:30 p.m. You definitely want to check that out. Matty put a lot of effort into that, and it's going to be from 50 to 55 minutes. It is something you can't just go on the internet and find. We're talking about like investing into cryptos, the strategy, the mindset behind it, game planning, how you're investing on a month-by-month basis. And team, I know you guys just get your money and sometimes just deploy it into the market, and you should not be doing it that way. You need strategy. You need to be lowering your cost basis. You need to be accumulating as many coins as you can in assets that you believe in. And this is what the strategy provides: buying assets and knowing when you should be selling those assets. That whole strategy, the Consistent Investor Strategy, make sure you check it out this Friday. Matty, let's get into the content though. We got some hating questions today, but we also have some good questions, so I'm excited to get into it. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Crypto Hunter 99 says, are we in the last phase before a blow off top, like the bear trap phase?
So I believe, even though I'm not somebody who harps on Elliott wave theory, I do see over larger time frames, and I've seen it in the foreign exchange markets as well, the 5-wave theory within Elliott wave theory. And generally what you see is, it works in both directions, but, obviously we've seen a lot of assets kick off and break their accumulative phase. Wave 1 generally changes the direction of the trend. So we'll see, if we've been in an accumulative phase sideways, you get a pop over a local high, and, that shows you, hey, there's a new wave that's kicked off. This is different. Wave 2 is a corrective wave, so it pulls back in the opposite direction. And then we get wave 3, and that's kind of really where the majority of everything kicks off in the market. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying, if your asset doesn't do exactly what you think it's supposed to do in wave 3, that it can't catch up in wave 5. But wave 3 is generally the largest and biggest wave that we see in the market. And one of the things we were looking at with our team was total 3, which is where we take out Bitcoin and Ethereum of the equation and we just examine total market cap of the altcoin market. And I honestly believe that we've only completed wave 1 and we are currently completing wave 2 of that market right now. So do I think this is the blow off moment for altcoins coming? No, but I do think that we are about to see the largest wave wave 3 for the altcoin market. So, I think that we're gearing up for it now. I think right now this rocky moment is scaring a lot of investors out, getting people afraid to add more to the market. They don't want to catch that falling knife, and that's okay. You shouldn't feel like you have to, pile into anything. But when you look at some of these charts, on a daily, 3-day, 5-day chart, and you kind of zoom out of your individual asset, and you kind of just like examine the market as a whole, overall looks very poised, very strong. We've also seen the equity market really make some meaningful strides over the last several weeks, pushing a new all-time high, specifically the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, and the Dow Jones kind of consolidating, lagging behind. So, again, even within the traditional equity markets, you're going to have some sectors that lead, some sectors that lag. But overall, I feel very confident that we still have much more bullishness ahead for the altcoin market.
Max Betty says, is there still time to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum specifically?
So you can, of course, enter anything as long as you're being strategic about it, right? And also just understanding what that risk to reward ratio looks like. What is the potential upside here? Is this, what is the opportunity cost? If I were to compare the two of them, I were to say Bitcoin versus Ethereum. Ethereum is still further back in its cycle. So, from just a raw risk to reward standpoint, Ethereum would be a better buy over Bitcoin. I also believe that Ethereum has a exponentially higher use case than Bitcoin does, much more versatile. And not running on old tech. Now, are you putting your dollars in the most aggressive vehicle possible to get the best return at this point? No, I don't believe so. You're buying Bitcoin, right around the all-time high. You're buying Ethereum, just under kind of that 618 there. So I personally would not really put most of my focus into those two. But that doesn't mean, as we come into this next bear cycle, that you guys don't strategize and go, okay, I want, let's say, 20 or 30% of my portfolio to be comprised of Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's when in a bear market, you want to start strategizing those things and start looking to reaccumulate and build those positions there. And I know that if you're, just came into the cycle, or, maybe you caught the tail end of last one, you kind of walked away, the bear market came back, and you're like, damn, I wish I had built the Bitcoin and Ethereum positions. You can still do that. It's just going to require some strategy and some patience, because you're not going to get that same risk to reward here. Excuse me, team. Jesus Christ. Most of the altcoin market is going to be offering a vastly better return than Bitcoin or Ethereum right now. So again, not telling you not to buy, but understand that you're basically swing trading and you're looking for much smaller returns compared to the rest of the altcoin market right now.
Yeah, Matty. So let's just give some people some perspective here. So if we were to swap out Bitcoin and Ethereum, where their prices, how further they are in the market, and swap that for XRP and CSPR, say they were that far in the market, would you buy those assets? Are we the purpose I'm asking this is because it's not just about the tech of the asset we are buying, okay? We know XRP is great, CSPR is great. But personally, if they were at Bitcoin, if they were farther along at Bitcoin and Ethereum moments, I wouldn't be buying those assets right now. Right. We were just talking about before the show, all of these altcoins that are behind right now. I was saying it's hard for me not to buy these, right? If I'm getting underwater and my cost basis is up and these assets are going lower, my cost basis needs to be lower and I need to add more money to that asset. So my question is, right here is, if we were to swap out Bitcoin and Ethereum and place that for XRP and CSPR, and they were ahead just like Bitcoin and Ethereum are, would you still buy them?
No, absolutely not. And I think that that's one of the big things we talk about is when I use the word too expensive, I'm never talking about the actual price itself. I'm talking about where price is relative to a breakout zone, relative to accumulation, how many X's it's up from that last phase that we kicked off from with, and if there's been no reasonable pullbacks from there. API 3 is a great example of that. I coached a lot of my team, especially the ones that stuck with us through this last bear market. Hey, we're down here in this dollar region. I'm applying this kind of DCA below $1. I'm being incredibly aggressive. I'm going 150% of that DCA to lower my average. And then once we kind of kicked back off and said, hey guys, DCA is off. As we approached some of those levels where I saw us getting into the high 3s and 4s, I said, you know what guys, I'm going to do a little trim here. I think we're coming into some previous tops, and I think that we could see a little sell off. So I'm going to sell 20% of my bag here. And a lot of my team did that. They realized some profits, and guess what? API 3 came back down. However, there was a newer group of people that hadn't been through the bear market. They saw what was happening. They wanted to join in on the impulses and the excitement, and they wanted to get in those shallow buys. And I identified, hey, this is a shallow buy, but here's where the real value buy is. And, it could take some time to get there, but these are the areas of interest that we need to wait for. And some people don't do that, right? And then they get frustrated that they have to now put more money into average down. So, again, expensive is not relative to the price. Bitcoin at $500,000 or API 3 at $2, it really is irrelevant. It's all about where we are structurally to where we've been before. So, I always try to be tactical, and there will be many altcoins that hear me talk about fundamentally at a certain point in the cycle where I just won't be doing any more purchasing. Even buying a higher low at a certain point just becomes very, very risky, and it's not worth the potential little bit of upside. And I'll actually be looking for other opportunities in some of the assets that are maybe a little bit further back, doing some smaller swing trades with that and recompounding those profits there versus just continuously buying into higher lows on assets, even if I'm incredibly fundamentally bullish.
Bridging Harmon 3 says, altcoins haven't moved yet. I feel it is time to sell.
Sell them to me, baby. Sell them to me at a discount. And that's fine. We've talked about this many times that generally buyers get exhausted when you've seen the market cool off like this. It was just about 3 months ago that the market was still very hot. When you look at total 3, it was just about 90-ish days ago that we just kind of started to have this cool off period. We had almost 150 or 165 days of total 3 kicking off very, very hard. And for the last 90 days, we've been cooling off. And that's all it's taken for people to just give up, right? It's all it's taken to be like, that's it. I picked the wrong coins. I did it again. I bought the top, and maybe you did. I don't know. But for the most part, I don't see anything structurally that has changed. Some altcoins have even re-enter their reaccumulative phases, giving you guys opportunities to either continue that DCA or turn the DCA back on, get involved in some assets that maybe you had your eye on and you were like, damn, I like this, but the price is too expensive. Now is the time to reconsider those things. You look at the sentiment in 2020 even, right? And of course we have a different set of circumstances, but you look at the sentiment at the bottom of the market, right? And of course there was, other things going on, people losing their jobs, the economy getting shut down. Nobody wanted to touch the market as it was absolutely crashing, right? And then, obviously we get this huge turnaround, you get this huge takeoff, and it seems to come out of nowhere and it comes very, very fast. So when we actually do get these breakouts, they're going to happen sometimes over a matter of days, where that accumulative phase can last hundreds of days, but there's not any, time predictor that can tell you it's going to happen at this exact time. Any influencer out there that tells you it's going to happen by this date, go back and actually, rewatch some of their stuff and see how accurate they were about their timing. 99% of the time, they're horribly wrong, which is why I don't even attempt. It's an absolute joke to try to, assume time. And this is where most people get shaken out of the market. They try to focus on time instead of pricing and goals. And a lot of times they pick a budget that they can't afford. And that's really the bigger reason why people exit the market. They overinvested. They invested without a budget and a schedule. And now they feel overwhelmed and they feel, they have to take care of other obligations, and they want to exit the market because they didn't get their immediate overnight 10x. I'm not that kind of investor, guys. If you guys want to sign up for CryptoCharged and you think that I'm going to give you guys, picks that are going to guarantee to blow up over a night or even a 30-day period, you got the wrong channel. I'm here to help you guys build real portfolios for years to come, not just profits for today.
Walsher77S says, these guys still talking about XRP. Move on. This thing moves laterally only because of the brainwashed community. Maybe it's a 2 to 3x from here. Not worth the headache.
I mean, we can go ahead and just omit the glaring fact that XRP was in the center of a lawsuit for over 2 years. We had a huge suppression in the last cycle up. We still did over like a 12, 13x on XRP from cycle low to cycle high, outpacing, Bitcoin and the majority of other things. So again, a new all-time high does not constitute, a good or a bad risk to reward ratio. There's many altcoins right now that even to their, 236 retracement, their 382 retracement are providing 5, 6, 7 times over the return that Bitcoin is right now. It only does a 2 or 3x from here. I mean, that's really cute considering that we got a 2x just on that news while we were in a bear market of the SEC v Ripple Labs case in relations to XRP in itself not being a security. That was an immediate single day 2x, and we weren't even in a bull market. I look at all these other fundamentally strong projects in the altcoin market right now, and I actually look at a lot of stuff that I don't even pay attention to because of Technical Tune-Up Friday, because we have so many different picks that are brought on the show. So I constantly am being exposed to where we are structurally the most in the market right now, and it doesn't differ from XRP. In fact, what we were looking at most recently is that XRP has actually defended its like 45, 50 cent region for years now. It's been a very, very strong pivot zone. So, if XRP is not for you, great. Again, XRP is a long-term pick for me. Of course, I'm going to extract profits this cycle. I've been building this bag for quite some time, but I plan on borrowing against that XRP at some point in the future. So, again, I know that some of you guys are here only for today. That's not me. I'm looking to build something for myself long into the future.
Mess. I really like Filecoin, but my cost basis is too high. Can I still DCA?
You sure can. And this is probably the best time to start kicking that back on. Let's go ahead and take a look here as a team on what's going on in the charts. Get rid of this here. And Filecoin is something that a lot of my team is actually involved in. I haven't taken this trade myself yet. I already had opened a few swing trades, so don't want to overexpose myself, especially when we know the market kind of moves as a whole. No reason to place 20 chips when you got 5 or 6 that you like. But I do like the Filecoin setup. One of the things that we've acknowledged here is this big double bottom that occurred. So you had first of all this nasty low liquidity wicking here all the 2019 all through 2020. And then you finally get this breakout into new all-time highs. You come back down and you kind of establish a second double bottom in there. So that's still what's occurring here. If we go ahead and look at some of the lows that were held in here, it's been a pretty good range, pretty solid range in here. You also have a clear top here. So inability to break, support, resistance. And on the bottom here, support, and lots of support in here. Okay, so first of all, if this is something that just blows you guys away, this is the most simple thing that you guys can learn within your charting that's going to help you make decisions like that. If you can identify support and resistance and you can learn how to throw a fib on a chart, it's going to help you make decisions way quicker, and you're not going to be emotional about it. You're not going to be like, is it a good time to buy? You're just going to know deep value, shallow buy, right? Like those are going to be the things where you're going to make decisions for yourself on like how aggressive you want to be. Now we also have within some of these zones, pivot zones, right? So we have a zone that kind of divides top of range and bottom of range. Sometimes it's not always right in the middle, but we want to still identify an area where we've had contention with price. And that's kind of right around here, around like the 510 price. We are currently below that pivot zone. You also have us below these major moving averages here showing short-term weakness. So honestly, if it was me, anything below 510 is an automatic DCA here. I would place maybe also a limit order, or consider placing a limit order towards the bottom of the range. Again, don't know what's going to happen with the market right now. We are very much still in downtrend on smaller time frames. So that's why I'm suggesting DCA for the majority of it here. But when we see the reaction that we've had previously in 2019, in late 2019, in early 2020, and then again re-interacting with those levels in 2022, 2023, this might be a good area of interest to consider setting a limit orders. So this is kind of one of the combo approaches we talk about in the consistent investor strategy, and there's a lot of different ways you can approach it. DCA only blanket, DCA concentrated, limit only concentrated, limit only blanket, combo DCA limit, combo DCA limit focus. Like there's a lot of different ways you can employ this, but I think the simplest approach for this particular lineup right here is to DCA under 510. Once you breach over 510, completely take your foot off the gas. Don't buy any more once we breach that zone, especially if you're able to employ aggressive DCA here. Maybe place a limit around 316 to scoop up some more if we do drop down there. If you see that we reverse out of here, cancel that limit order, and then look to buy a higher low. The other thing that we want to do is grab a Fibonacci. So we're going to go from the swing high, we're going to go to the swing low in here. This is what I talk about with hunting down those 236 and 382 gaps. A lot of these bear market sell-offs here, when you're in these accumulative phases, leave these big liquidity gaps. I'm not going to exhaust myself here talking about liquidity gaps, but it has to do with market makers. It has to do with price getting yanked around to certain zones that institution and banks place orders at. So if you look at where current market price is up just into that 236, you are looking at potentially a 6x opportunity, or the 382, which also coincides well as price action up here, for about a 10x opportunity. So again, are you going to maybe see price a little bit lower? Sure. Could it come back a little bit higher? Yep. But if you're kind of DCAing and this is going to be kind of your average zone here, you are looking at somewhere between a 6 and a 10x opportunity to just fill out some of those gaps. We're not talking about Filecoin clearing at a new all-time high. And if you guys start to see charts that look like this and are offering these kinds of opportunities, these will be some of the most asymmetric bets that you can place in this market. Once we're up in these territories up in here, yeah, of course, we can still look for new all-time highs, but the risk to reward drops significantly. The risk goes up a lot, and I know that sounds counterproductive, but the risk goes up as price goes up. So the more opportunities that we can capitalize that look like this, and even rotate those into other opportunities that still look like this, that is the absolute best way for you to maximize your gains this cycle. So right now, absolutely a good time to kick that DC on as aggressively as you comfortably can within your budget for something like Filecoin.
That looks really good, Matty. And man, when I see charts like this really gets me feeling good, because Filecoin was another one. VeChain, that's right. I mean, a lot of VeChain when we were deep in those moments, and VeChain was just offering a crazy potential buying opportunity, and now VeChain has gone up a little bit, but during those moments, like that 2020, the early 2023 to mid 2023, great moments to be buying an asset. But there's still even assets that are offering great opportunities that have this kind of reward opportunity like Zcash, and some of the ones we talked about on After Hours. So I think this looks like a steal. I wish I knew more about the fundamentals of Filecoin. I know it does file storage, but I don't know. It's not like, when we talk about Casper and XRP months over months, like on the After Hours show, and we're able to know every single thing that's up to date with those cryptos, I'm going to favor those cryptos more. And so, starting the middle of this year, I want to expand my range, because I feel like I'm only like looking at like, 6 crypto sectors right now. I haven't really, Matty, I know you've gone into DPIN and you've looked at, some game you've been charting Decentraland, Mana a lot recently, and that's somewhere I'm looking to go in. But I really like what's going on right now, Matty. A lot of opportunities across the board here. So team, man, if you are sitting here and you're thinking about selling, you are completely of the wrong mindset. You should have been believing in these assets since day one. You were believing these, like, look at Filecoin right here, okay? Filecoin was deeper than it is right now, okay? It was deeper mid last year, okay? And now it is going back to that zone, okay? So if you were buying Filecoin last year, why would you not buy Filecoin when it's going to show that's almost that same same buying opportunity right now, So it's kind of like hypocritical. So if you really do believe in Filecoin, you would be buying Filecoin right now, I think, Matty, what was that zone? So you said under the $5.10 zone you're buying. Is that correct?
That would be a DCA for sure. You could have as high as the tolerance as maybe almost 10. But again, that risk reward starts to go down pretty significantly. I would employ as heavy of a DCA as I comfortably can if this is something I'm trying to lower my average on, under 510. Maybe consider throwing a limit down there in kind of like the low $3 region to kind of, close that gap a little bit. Let's say, your DCA and then that limit order gets hit. Maybe you can even back off the DCA because your average has been lowered enough. Again, that's going to be based on, your own personal entries and circumstances and, your budget. But, when you have these opportunities to, buy back into accumulation, they will be far and few between as the market really does go into some of those euphoric moments. So, I'm looking at these as gifts right now. I know that we're going to be having different conversations a year from now, and I hope that you guys are on the right side of those conversations with us where, you capitalize on at least a couple opportunities and don't feel like you need to capitalize on all of them. Okay. That's one big thing I want you guys to take away from this is there are probably at least 100 charts that look relatively similar to Filecoin right now, but you don't have to invest in all of them. One of the main pieces in the consistent investor strategy we talk about is not having an overly concentrated or having a properly concentrated portfolio. 8 to 12 for me is kind of like the spot where I like to manage. I do have some swing trades on top of that, but don't feel like you need to capitalize on every opportunity. Pick some fundamentals that you like. Look for the technical setups that accompany those fundamental factors, and then make some decisions. Don't be afraid to pull the trigger after you've done that research.
Yes, team, check out the Consistent Investor Strategy this Friday at 2:30. It's going to be a banger. Matty just talked a lot to that right now, so if you liked what you heard from Matty right here when it comes to strategy, because it's not just strategy with what assets you buy, it is also when you buy them. When are you, in what phases are you buying these assets, okay? And a lot of the cryptos we talk about, I don't even have to say it, are in great buying zones right now. And so that's what we're doing, team. Nothing's really changing right now. We're going to continue to bring good shows every single week, providing value. And this week, it just feels like, hey, team, you better be buying, because if you're not, you're missing out. Like, that's been the message this week. That's what we talked about on After Hours on Monday, and that's really the message of today, team. So that's all we have for today, team. We will see you next week. Bye.